What's going on, everybody? Good afternoon, and welcome to In the Tank with Keith, Deyo, and Hairston, hanging out at my brother's house today, getting some work done. The kids are home, so I'm definitely not getting much work at home done. So today we've got a great topic. We're talking about what's now and what's next, because honestly, we always have to be thinking of where we are right now, right? We got to say, where have we been? Where are we right now, and where are we going? And why are we here, right? So as we start to just elaborate a little bit and finish up this week, I just want to go ahead and have you post in these comments below, what is the focus today? What are we focused on? How do we do this week? All that good stuff. About to bring my boy Keith on, about to rock this thing. Yes, let's go. So yeah, Kimberly, what's going on? Welcome to the call. Very excited to have you here. Hi, baby.
Let's go.
Go, man. Over at Trevor's house this morning. I had to get away from the kids, man. The house is nuts. They got February vacation going on. So yeah, man. So what's going on, brother? What is now and what's next? I love it. Let's do it.
I love it. We got so many Fridays. We got Freedom Friday. We got Flex Friday. We got, what else we got? We got Happy Friday. It's the first day of Lent. It's the first day of Lent today. What else we got?
You know, we have a lot going on this week, Keith. I mean, a lot of our viewers have really dove in, right, to the pot, and they're trying to figure out, like, where do they go from here? And I know that it can be a bit frustrating. It can be a bit overwhelming, right? Making those changes in your life, making those decisions that are so scary. You know, I was listening to Shaun White's interview this morning as I was replaying, and me and my son, me and Elijah had been really engulfed in the Olympics. It's so cool, you know, sitting there with my son for the first time and watching these athletes compete at a high level. And so Shaun White talked about his last run on the half pipe, and he said that he was absolutely overwhelmed with fear. You know, he said that he was going to put together a combination of moves that he's never done before, never practiced before. And he says, normally, you know, I just go ahead and I just go. He goes, but they had me on the podium. They had me standing up there waiting to go. And he goes, thoughts just started overwhelming me. And, you know, the moment to go was go. And I know all I could do is just take action. And so that's where we are today as we start to lead these individuals that have been plugging in with us. Where do they go from here? And so you had sent me something, Keith, in regards to really not listening to the noise and just focusing on the vision that you have for yourself and really going forward. What's going on, Corey? Let's go, girl. Awesome.
There you go, Corey Kinnear in the house.
Yes, the number one, right? So what's going on, Corey? So Keith, for you, right, what is going to be the message leading these individuals into the weekend?
Well, Aaron, we have really three type of people, there are two types that we work with the most, and that's the what's now people and the what's next people. The what's now people they have a higher tolerance for risk. They enjoy the uncertainty, they enjoy the adventure, they live in the moment. And once you identify which one you are, so you're living in the moment versus what's next, those are the people that are most often driven by certainty. And that when you identify these things, those two questions, what's now or what's next, is usually what happens in the beginning of a journey. You're going to say, all right, what is now? I'm ready to get it. Whatever it is, I woke up, I'm ready. I'm going to live in this moment right now. It'll never be the same again. I've got this second, this minute, this hour. There's a one-time shot. And I'm going to make sure that I maximize my effort. I squeeze every juice out of this time that I have. And I am okay with uncertainty. I am okay with where it takes me. And it is what I make it. That's the key statement. It is what I make it. And then you have other people, and those people that are what's now people usually partner up with what's next people. So I myself, I've been with my wife since I was 15 years old. She's a what's next. She wants to know what's next because the next part allows her to have certainty in the moment, knowing that she's on time, knowing that she's got everything ready. There's a lot of things that need to be done, and the what's now people usually don't get them done until it's now. So they get them done in the now. The what's next people are always looking forward. They're ready to get ready to get ready. So if you can find a what's next and you're a what's now, or vice versa, you're going to be extremely successful in your life. It doesn't necessarily have to be a partner. It can be somebody that you're close with. It could be a great friend. It could be somebody that you're going to spend enough time with that you're going to both rub off on each other and you're going to make each other better. So we can share a little bit about what's next, and I can share a little bit about what's now, and our energies can offset each other almost like the yin and yang do, and create that balance. And when we find balance in life, beautiful things happen. Look at all of the things in nature. They don't grow out of balance. They don't. There's not this rapid growth and then all of a sudden this rapid death. They find balance, and it's over time that they create that beauty. And we have to help ourselves and help those people around us understand what kind of person we are, so that they can be who they are, and then we'll understand what kind of beauty we can create together. We may not work out. So instead of forcing it, if you've got a what's now person and you're a what's now and you like it, you like what's going on, well then make sure that somewhere else in their day, they've got a what's next around them. So that you both don't get so what's now that nothing's ever ready, nothing's ever prepared, and now you're not moving as fast as you possibly could. And so Corey talks about the thoughts on your mind, believing that but can't execute. She goes, making your body move to your mindset. Yeah, so then she brings up an off topic, planet Earth. It's awesome in showing that. So there's a lot of things that we have that we're connected with when we talk about getting connected to source, and then identifying what type of person you are. And there was a video that I sent out today where this topic rang true, and it talked about whether or not you're driven towards greatness or by greatness, right? So there's a difference there. That's the same type of mindset. Are you driven towards greatness or by greatness? Those that are driven by greatness are living in a state of manifestation. That's where they get most of their abundance from. They get it because they identify that it already exists, and they attract even more. Those that are running towards greatness are those are the carrot and stick people. There's nothing wrong with either version. We need to know who we are though, so that those people understand how big the carrot needs to be, right? And how far ahead of them it needs to be, so that they don't get close enough where they slow down. And I need to know I'm driven by greatness. I need to know where the greatness exists, identify it, affirm it every single day inside me. And when I do that, my heart fills up. It feels like it's going to absolutely explode. And then I get it into my day. I get a training session in, and then I pour the rest of what I have into this lunchtime live. And from there, I go out and I look for other things that I look in other areas that I can be greater in, and go back to being a student again, and then fill the tank back up. And then before I go to bed, I hit another teacher session, and then bang, I'm in it and I'm resting. So I've found the balance in my day. But if I didn't have that carrot and stick person, if I didn't have that what's next person, it would be a little reckless because of how much now I live in. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So, you bring up some really good topics here. So the first one that I heard you say was really about the balance, right? Finding the balance that's going to keep you motivated, right? And also not slow you down and get discouraged, because there's a balance between there, right? And then you talked about either living through greatness or living towards greatness, right? And the actions that you do. And so again, we're talking about that balance and that distance that's going to allow you to see the goal just enough so that it says, you know what, it's possible versus impossible, and then also of whatever's fueling you and what's keeping you going. And then the last thing that you bring here is one really special, and you talk about the carrot and the stick, right? So then we're talking about that distance again. So these two things in regards to what drives you, what are you driving with in regards to fuel, and what are you shooting for? See, Keith, I noticed this a lot when I used to play ball. When we're practicing, right, and we're doing our spring training or whatever we're doing in August, and it's double sessions, and, it gets about halfway through there, and the season's still so far away that for some, it was just bruising their brain, and they just couldn't stay focused, and it just discouraged them. You saw it in their performance. And then there was others, right, that the season was just far away enough so that they knew that the progress they've made so far is just going to make them that much better when they get on game one. So I think that it's really great relating to that. I mean, you look at the Olympics, right? Every 4 years, the athlete gets to compete. And then I was looking at Shaun White and his progress over the 12 years of what he's been able to accomplish with 3 gold medals. I mean, you think about it, and last year coming up short, and looking at his journey and saying, wow, I got to wait 4 more years to do this. See, that's that carrot in the stick. What's next? and then what's now and what he's going to be able to apply to his generation, to his journey along the way to that gold medal. And so I ask you, in your life right now, where are you allowing yourself that growth, right? And where are you allowing the balance? Because a lot of people get involved in changing their life at such a extreme way that they get so beat up. And the tough part of that is that you're going to get beat up along the way, but don't put yourself in such a stressed achiever box, right? Where now deception is so heavy and so resistant that you're like, oh my gosh, like I don't really think I can do this, and I got to dial back. But dialing back actually means quit, right? So we want to be able to create that balance. And so for me, it took about 4 years, to be honest with you, to really, really dial into being an entrepreneur and being a servant leader and really understanding what's in it for the world coming through me versus what's in it for me. And so as I looked at the distance of what it was going to take for me to allow myself the joy, the freedom, the mindset, the energy, all this stuff that needed to come with balance to be able to sustain this for a long time and say, okay, this is not short term. I'm not just doing this for 90 days. I'm not just doing this for the year of 2017. Right, I'm actually doing this for generations not even born yet. But for some, that seems so far away, especially if you don't got kids yet. You're like, I don't even know. Like, that doesn't even make any sense to me. So you need to find that balance. And for me, it was that consistent action, and that consistence plugging into others that have done great things. And so I kind of go back and forth between the faith and the belief in myself and what I'm capable of and what others have achieved that still seems so far away, but yet still close, because I know that if I've done what I've done to this point, oh my gosh, what's going to happen tomorrow? What's going to happen tomorrow? And so I am the in-between the what's now and what's next. And I think that's where we create that balance, and just providing those resources of items that you can plug into, that you can learn from, that you can take from. And I love how Will Smith says it. He goes, the successful people have failed a lot. Matter of fact, they failed more than they succeeded. And these are the things that you have to receive from failure. It's the message of growth, right? And the message of obedience, and a message of discipline. All these things that we know have been told to us for years and years to come, but we just have to find a way to balance it and be able to adjust it so that we continue to see progress. Because as we say, Keith, right? Progress equals happiness. And that's something that, Mr. Tony Robbins says all the time, in creating that process to be able to find that greatness inside of you. So, great topic today. And Keith, I want to ask you, when you're working with an athlete and you see the potential, right? Are you working with someone with their mindset and their nutrition? When you see the potential, how do you feed that to them, right? In a way that they receive. How do you start to understand how they're going to receive it, and then how do you feed it?
Well, first, Aaron, I want to make sure that they know who they are, because I think that's so important. We're not identifying. Hey, Corey, what's going on, man? Thank you for all the comments. We've met a few times. Especially enjoy watching you break out through Periscope when that was hot. Now this is hot, so this is where we are. You led the way. You're definitely a torchbearer when it comes to social media communications and branding. So thank you for all the work that you did and still do. So when I work with athletes, I spend about 90 minutes with them before they even get on the turf. And that's really one-on-one. That's an interview. I ask them questions that no one has ever asked them, and most often they haven't even asked themselves. So I want to make sure that they clearly know who they are off the field. Let me know who you are off the field, and that you have a healthy identity, and you understand that even though this seems like it's everything to you, it's not everything. This is simply it's a blip on the radar in your life. But now, how can we leverage this blip in order to get more from who you are? Let's pull out more of the things that live inside you that you may not have the opportunity to pull out when you're in such a structured thing like school, because the majority of their time they're spending in school and they're being told what to do. They're being put they're being formed. They're having to conform most of the day, and if they don't, they'll be in trouble. So I want to let them know that here you are you. There's no mold here. This is all about you. You can be whoever you want to be, and make sure that once you choose who that is, we're going to make sure we take that up to 100, and you're your best. So we can put on a little mask when we get in here. This is our superhero time, and they can be any superhero they want. So what I do is I want to see them smile. I want to see them get a little bit nervous. I want to see goosebumps. I want to find out if I can tap into their energy source and get goosebumps back. And then we have that moment where we're both smiling. We're both seeing the same thing. And when I ask them what their goals are, if they could have anything, if there was a magic wand and it existed, what is your ultimate goal? And I make sure I say, if it's not big enough, I'm going to call you out right here. I've done that with 6, 7, 8-year-olds. And I watch them dream, and I watch their eyes light up, and their smile comes across their face. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it, because it's that shared moment that tells me that they're still alive inside. Show me there's a flame in there. Show me there's just a spark. If I can see a spark, well, then our program will guide you in such a way that everyone you're around here in this environment is constantly fanning that flame. And let's keep flame lit.
So stay right there. So stay right there for a moment, right? So stage 1 is finding what they believe in themselves as far as what's capable, right? What makes them happy, helping them to elaborate more broadly to be able to identify, where their true happiness is, right? So kind of doing some footprinting. And so I just want to keep everybody on track here. Apply this to your life, right? Are you asking yourself those questions that keeps asking these athletes? And this is how we can keep ourselves going. And so, Keith, now you've identified what drives these individuals. You kind of created that light bulb to kind of turn on now. You got some bright lights going on. So what's next?
Yeah, so we basically took that dimmer switch and turned it way up. And now I've got them. Now I've got all the oxygen flowing to their brain. I've got the endorphins firing. I've got that cortisol down, and they're excited because now they know that there's somebody else that believes in them. Now they know that I'm affirming that that possibility could be a reality for them. And so once we do that, and if it's an adult, then I ask them about what's their number one feeling. So for the adults that are on here right now, that's more for the athletes, and I want to help you apply this to your life. I ask people, what is the primary feeling you're seeking? What do you love? How do you love feeling every day? What is that primary feeling for you, right? Happiness? Is it, for some, is it peace? Is it love? Is it excitement, energy? Is it this warrior, right? What is it? Fire. Identify that. Once you identify that, then I ask that student athlete, right? So I'm identifying their dream, their ultimate. For the adult, I'm identifying the primary feeling. So if we go back to the athlete, then I ask the athlete, okay, well, picture yourself where you just told me you would ultimately go. I say from that place, take me all the way back to where you are now and tell me what gaps exist. What is so different about you and your ultimate version of you? What's different? What's missing? And most often, they'll realize that there's not much missing. There isn't much missing. And what happens is they say, well, if I'm sitting here with you as a 10 or 12-year-old, and my ultimate is to be this professional athlete, all right? I ask them, I say, well, what's different between you and a professional athlete? They'll say reps. They'll say size. They'll say strength. They'll say speed. I say, is there any of those things that you believe you will not have the opportunity to do before you reach the age at which you'll be called upon to be at that pro level? Is there anything here that in this gap that exists that you think is impossible? And they'll be like, no. And I say, okay.
So let's stay right there, right? So now you're moving into relatability, right? So a lot of times in our life, we need to be able to use examples because we talk about that blank space, that dark spot in your mind of where you're, consciously competent versus unconsciously incompetent. And so you're trying to understand the gap, right? And so now you're bringing in relatability. You're also bringing in examples so that they can say, okay, well, it doesn't seem like it's too far off. You start comparing numbers. You start to compare size, right? So I love that. So now it becomes real. All right, awesome. So now they got the belief growing, right? So now the light bulb's even brighter now, right? Until we start to move. And then what do you find starts happening, Keith? What do you see start growing on the outside now? What are you seeing from the individual that now you've turned the light on, right? You've built belief. You've helped them to identify what's relatable to what they are right now and where they are in their life. And so then what's next for them?
So what I then remind them of is all the work that's going to go in. Because I asked them, I said, do you believe that you're going to get stronger? Yes. Do you believe that you're going to get faster? Yes. Do you believe that you're going to get bigger? They're like, yes. So, okay, so all of the things that you know are between you now and the ultimate version of you, they already happened. It's already laid out in front of you. Now, I want to also prepare you for the work that's going to be involved. There's going to be a lot of hard work that you're going to have an opportunity to do or not do. There's going to be a lot of things that you're going to have an opportunity to choose to eat and not eat, right? You're going to notice that as you go further and further into this journey, that you're going to grow further and further away from the friends that you have right now that have gotten you to this point, because they can't be the same people who are going to get you to the ultimate you. So let's start to identify what your schedule could look like and the choices that you may have along the day. And it all starts, for me, when I sit a client down, it all starts with nutrition. Because what fuel source are you going to choose? Because you can have the best environment, but if you don't have the resources and the tools, you're going to be a ship lost at night, lost at sea. So I want to make sure that we fuel these people with the best nutrition possible. And they also know why one thing over another thing. So it's all about that empowerment. So now we've crossed that bridge, and I'm preparing them for the deception. I'm preparing them for the moment that they start to second guess. That's the key. Is most people will get us so jacked up into inception, they'll make all these promises, and then when it doesn't work, they'll say, "Oh, that was on you. You didn't put the work in." But that's not the truth. You didn't properly prepare them for when the work was going to get hard. That's your job as a guide, because most often when we get into a relationship where improvements are going to be made, most often the person that's putting you there is also in love with inception. They're so in love with it that they don't know what to do outside of it. So they get you so stuck in inception so they can stay in inception. And then they talk about everything that's good and nothing that needs to be improved upon or worked on. And they put all the blame and onus on you. But they want to take all the credit. So they love playing hero because the heroes can get stuck in inception. Heroes can stay in inception. But what they don't realize is they're not the hero of your story. You are. And I'm here to guide you. I'm here to show you that my greatest gift is my ability to peel back the onion, because everything that you've ever wanted, everything you've ever dreamed of is already exists. And I know that. You may not, but I do. And we're going to get to a point where you're going to walk into my presence. You're going to walk into my environment, or you're going to walk across my path, or you're going to sit on the other side of a table. And I'm going to see the look in your eyes that goes through you. A look that goes so deep into your soul that that light is so bright, and that's the moment you realize that everything you've ever wanted already exists, and the only thing missing is your belief that it's there on a daily basis, and surrounding yourself with other people that do the same, because our environment is extremely important. So when I talk to them about what the next steps are.
So I want to bring them back to the part where you just pre-framed the pain, right? You pre-framed the pain, because here's the thing, guys. If you set goals for yourself this week, right, and you didn't pre-frame the work and the pain that was going to be required to achieve whatever this destination you had set for yourself, this is where you've set yourself up for failure. So you have to also create the relatability of the failure. Right? So now you can start to see, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to start to feel this pain along the way, and I know that it's going to show up. So that way you've kind of inoculated yourself. You kind of created some immunity to that. When it comes up, you're like, okay, I've been here. You start to help your unconscious mind to say, okay, I don't have to save you, right? We've been here before, right? Because the mind doesn't know what the difference between what's vividly imagined or actually right there in front of you, and you can visually see a touch, right? And so, Keith, I love the fact that you bring upon that part right after all the excitement, because if we just keep getting caught up in inception, right? What happens after someone jumps out of a plane with a parachute on, right? If they don't pull out the parachute, right, then they're going to hit the ground, they're going to hit their face flat on the ground, and to be dead. So here's the cool thing about this, right, is that if you can vividly imagine the pain is not real yet, right? But the mind doesn't know the difference. And so if you can prepare the mind for that failure. You can prepare your body and that emotional, overwhelming feeling, that anxiety that you're going to feel, right? When it becomes real now, right? And actually after what you've done and it starts showing up, now you say, okay, right? I can do this. And so now we're transitioning into the transformation phase, right? And so we've went from inception. We went into deception, uncertainty. We've went into transformation because now we're looking back, right? Just imagining we're looking back at when we made those goals, what was going to be required so that when we get there, right, we're like, oh, it didn't kill me. I'm good. The parachute came out. Holy smoke, Keith, you were right. Right, I am faster. I am stronger. I can do this. I can stick to my nutrition. And one of the things that Charles Brooks brings up here is that fitness and nutrition is a marriage. Well, that's part of the picture for those athletes and those involved in fitness. But there's also life fitness, right? Nutrition and life is a marriage because again, we are not going to be as productive as we need to be, Keith, like we said, unless we have the right fuel source, and that also comes with pain. Right? Consistently, preparation, right? Some cost. What is it going to cost for you to be more productive? There's going to be a lot more activity when you're eating and what you're putting in your body. So we talk about that, pre-framing the pain that's along the way. And then how do you close out of this, Keith? How do you wrap everything up with a nice bow so that they can create that new identity and that new habit?
Well, I make sure that they walk out of here a little crazy. I like a little crazy in the people that I'm around, right? Yeah, I want them. I want people to look at them and say, "What? You're gonna do what? When?"
Right.
And then I want because I want them to go. I say, "Go tell 10 people." Now, go tell 10 people because I want you to identify who your believers are and who your non-believers are, because it's the watch me. Right? You got to get a little bit of watch me out of the athlete, right? Watch me. Oh, yeah? Watch me. Right? You don't know who I'm riding with. You don't know who my squad is. Watch me. Right. And then you got the believers there that are watching. They're like, yeah, this is awesome. They're your cheerleaders, right? We always love cheerleaders. You're a football player. You like cheerleaders, right? So we got to have some cheerleaders and we got to have some non-believers. And the best thing is that I heard it this morning. It was a great statement. It was about, look, if no one's told you that your goals and dreams are crazy, then you've never gotten to the edge of your ability. You've never gotten outside your comfort zone. If someone doesn't look you in the face and say, man, you're crazy, you are out of control. And if you're married, believe me, when you will see a scary look on your spouse's face when the moment that you really have a breakthrough, that's when you know. When they say, when they start talking like you need to go, like we're gonna need counseling, like this isn't working, I'm not too sure about this version of you, that's when you know you've had a breakthrough. That's when you know you got to not only the edge of your comfort zone, you've now gotten to theirs, and now you're gonna take it and go up a notch. And so when my athletes leave here, or people that I work with, I want them jacked up, crazy. I want them out there. And I want them looking like no one else, because I know what average looks like and I know what average people do. And average is a disease. And it's a disease that we do not have time for. And the people that get our time, they are everything but average. And if you see us having a conversation in a cafe, a restaurant, wherever we are, people know. People look at us like we've got 5 heads. Like, what are they on? That's the question I want people asking you. What are you on? I'm on life right now. I have found it. I'm all the way up.
Yeah.
Right. How are you doing? I'm all the way up. What's going on? Everything's going on. And I love it. Every single day feels like a weekend. And when you get in that 7-day weekend mentality, woo, watch out, because big things are going to happen. You're going to look, everywhere you walk is fireworks going off. Pop, 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 pop. That's how they leave.
I love it, and so as we finish up the week, Keith, I want to close in saying that the limiting beliefs that you have set for yourself right now, I want you to let go, because what you heard today is the process of how to let those things go. Our life has not been solidified and written yet. It hasn't been, right? You're going to dictate the choices. We have free will, right? We've been given all the gifts, the talents, and the things that have only been given to us. And now our responsibility is to make sure that those limiting thoughts, those limiting beliefs, those limiting elements in our lives are removed and we start to bring more new life into what we've already understood life, and we start to go forward. And so for all those who've chimed in, John Winchester, holy smokes, haven't seen that shooter in a while, brother. This guy, he can make it rain, man. I tell you, Bobby Moore got on here. Always good to see you too, brother. Mira, Tracy, what's going on? Charles, thank you for really chiming in, man. You know, it is important, right? Realizing your progress is so important. The man, the legend, Michael Mancini, good to see you on here, brother. And so for the hundreds of thousands of individuals that will view this live stream, right, this live shared in history now on February, what is it now? What's the date today? February, what, 14th, 15th?
I don't know, 16th? 16th.
16th, whatever day it is, I just want you to now go forward into the weekend with more belief in yourself that you have more left in the tank, all right? And we want to always thank you for your input. And please continue to comment, like, review this information, and continue to feed yourself with the process of going from excitement into uncertainty because you deserve it, transforming so you can look back at that uncertainty and say, you know what was I thinking? This is so possible. And then creating those new habits so now it becomes unconsciously just able, right? You just start becoming new and you start to say, you know what? I am a little crazy. I am a little outside the box. And love it. All right, so go ahead and have a fantastic Friday. As always, we just want to thank you. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Let's rock and roll, baby. Let's make it happen, guys.